And hello to everybody watching in replay. Because I've had a bit of a hiccup today on Facebook, we're gonna see if we can make a plan to share everything a different way. I'm really sorry for everybody who's kind of finding my links going live, and then I don't go live. So apologies to everyone who's kind of been following me around and not finding me. I promise I am here to talk about baby-led weaning. And so I want to share with all of you a little bit about our experience that we've had so far. So for those who don't know me, I'm Zoe, and Harley, the born of the Born Geek, is sleeping. And we decided to do the baby-led weaning thing just because we thought that it would be a better way of introducing Harley to solids. So, hold on. I need my milk chocolate. I've had a bit of a hiccup this evening. So for those who didn't follow me from link to link, I was all planning to stream with OBS and it was going to look amazing. And I had scenes, it was all planned out, and then the joys of live video, it didn't work. So, fun times. So because that didn't work, I'm just a bit flustered. I'm gonna have my hot chocolate. Okay, so baby-led weaning. So I don't know how many people watching in live stream have ever actually heard of baby-led weaning. So for those who don't know, baby-led weaning is essentially the idea that you don't give your child purees and weird baby foods and stuff like that. Like, you literally just feed your child the food that your family is eating, and they'll figure it out as they go along. So that's the gist of it, I think. At least that's my approach to it. And you start at normal solid age. So normally people introduce solids around 6 months. There are a few signs of food readiness. So usually it's quantified by the 3 signs. So it's the child being able, I know, Craig, I love all these marshmallows. Like, I can't get enough of mini marshmallows and hot chocolate, because then they go all melty and gooey and they're divine. So the food readiness things are being able to hold their head up independently, so not having the floppy baby head anymore, showing some interest in food as well, and then also being able to say no when they're full. So this would be shown by like a baby who normally has a bottle or is on the boob and is able to unlatch when they're full, as compared to like just going and spitting up when they're done. Which Harley not still, but she did for a long time. She just loved being on the boob and then be like, oh, I drink too much. But she did know how to say no when she didn't want it as well. So at about 6 months we started baby-led weaning, and I was adamant that we were going to do baby-led weaning. And the main thing was that I thought that, first of all, I didn't want to have to make purees and baby food because that just sounded gross. And the other thing was, I figured that it would be a nice way to include her in our family meal times. And they say it's actually better for preemie babies, because preemie babies are known to have sensory issues. They actually recommend baby-led weaning for preemie babies because they get they're less likely to have the texture issues around food that you might get otherwise. Now, I'm going to be really rude because normally Dean does my sharing for me, and I had everything actually all set up to share, and then my everything died. I'm not even gonna lie, my OBS didn't work and it was terrible, and now all of my shares haven't come through. So I'm going to share this myself to my timeline and my all of my groups. If you would like, you can take the opportunity to do the same with me. So if you know someone who is considering doing baby-led weaning, or is wondering about how they're going to introduce their child to solids, then this might be a good option. No, I never bought the Woolworth's baby food. Is the Woolworth baby food nice? I'm not a baby food person. Like, it just kind of creeps me out a little bit. It's just like mush. I mean, obviously I eat other foods that come in mush form, like, porridge or yogurt or something, which I suppose is a puree, but it's different. I don't know, does it count? Does that count as like a baby-led weaning thing, or does that count as a puree baby food thing? What do you think? By the way, if you like what I'm talking about, if you're keen on this, then please be sure to share this with your friends and share it with your enemies. I don't really care. But share and share alike. Out of curiosity, what were your favorite foods when you guys were little? Like, that's kind of my question of the day, which I will be asking throughout this stream. I remember apparently when I was growing up and I'd asked my mom what I ate when I was little, she says I pretty much lived on rice cakes and apple juice. So I'm curious, for those watching, what were the foods that you apparently lived on when you were little? Because, yeah, I think we all kind of live on odd foods. Anyway, so we started with the baby-led weaning, and see, that's the thing. Like, I think the kids' meals, this is the thing with baby-led weaning, is like kids' meals are nicer. Like, real food is nicer than purees. Hi, Mandy. Real food is nicer than creepy puree. Like, I just can't even imagine having like pasta and sauce in pureed form. Like, it just sounds kind of gross. So, to be fair, we did baby-led weaning from when Harley was 6 months, about 6-7 months, somewhere in there. When she showed those 3 signs of, being able to show interest in food, hold her head up, and say no to food if she wasn't interested. Harley also loves pasta. It seems to be like a universal thing to just love spaghetti and sauce. So we started with kind of, letting her try anything that we had, and mostly sushi smoothie. I don't know, Eleanor, I think that would just be, I don't know, I can't even imagine having a sushi smoothie, but maybe I'm just, but I love sushi, so probably I would actually really enjoy it because it would be the right flavor. But just the thought of that is really gross. Hey Luma! So if you're just tuning in, please let me know your favorite food when you were a kid. So yeah. So we started with all sorts of things. We'd give her like avocado, and I would give her toast. I tried, all the things that they say kids who are starting eating should have. So, I would make oatmeal and try and give it to her on a spoon, but in dried fingers, sort of. It was weird because the baby-led weaning thing is they should be able to pick up and hold anything they want to play with. So I was letting her smush oatmeal in her hands, which as I'm talking about, I can hear the face that my mom is making right now going, oh. She was trying everything, so she would pick everything up, smush it in her hands, maybe taste it, but really not much seemed to be going in, and I was getting really, really worried. And they say with the baby-led weaning that it's not about how much food gets in, because food before 1 is for fun, and that's like my mantra when Harley was, until she was 1 year old. Food before 1 is for fun. So she was still on the boob, and I didn't really stress if she never ate anything, which seemed to be the rest of my life. I was convinced that she was just never going to eat food. And then she would surprise me. Then I would be eating tapenade, and she would lick it off of my fingers. Yes, exactly. Harley loves broccoli. She loves broccoli and cauliflower, vegetables that children aren't supposed to enjoy, and asparagus and spinach and weird stuff as well. So she has tried all the veggies and all the things, and it's just kind of an odd child in that sense. And so, I kept sort of introducing her to things and offering her things, but she never really seemed to care for food. It wasn't ooh, mealtime, I can't wait. So, and I would put her in high chairs, and she would cry and sit on my lap, and she would just not really be interested. And then, yes, and pate. It was tapenade and pate. And I know adults who won't even try tapenade or pate, and here Harley was just no problem, shoveling it into her face. So it was very odd. Like I couldn't predict what she would do well with. And then she became a bit of a normal child, as I suppose you could say. Like she would eat potato chips and fries and crisps and rice cakes. She seemed to really like rice cakes, but like she would break them into little pieces and then eat them. But it was just like I felt like she wasn't really convinced that food was interesting. And then I think it coincided with school. Now I can't say if it was school that did it or if it was just a developmental thing for Harley. But at a certain point, she, all of a sudden, like at school, there was a little girl who ate yogurt, and apparently she coveted this child's yogurt. So then the teacher said to me, why don't you try sending yogurt and we'll see if she eats it. And now she's a big yogurt machine, like she just loves it. Which is kind of weird for me because, like, technically that's a puree, isn't it? Like, technically that falls under not baby-led weaning because she's not smushing it in her hands before she eats it and, like, getting used to the texture and, like, chewing it with her hands before she chews it with her mouth. Like that's spoon fed to her and it's smooth and she just shovels it into her mouth. But she loves it. So I mean, I suppose the whole preloaded spoon thing counts to an extent. She does like to try and feed herself and then the teachers have to help her. But it was just really funny for me. So then she started eating yogurt and then they told me she was eating porridge at school. And I was like, what child are you talking about? Because this is not my child. And now she eats anything and everything. Like, it is absolutely a dream to actually have her as a kid. I mean, in general, it's a dream to have her as a kid because I love her and she's my tiny human. But in terms of food, she is quite easy because no matter where we are, what we're doing, I can feed her. And she doesn't seem to have an issue. Like, she loves spaghetti and sauce. Like, tonight we had spaghetti and meatballs. And she actually was, like, lunging for the meatballs. Like, most kids aren't really a fan of meat. Harley is the ultimate carnivore. Like, she loves pork chops, and she loves pork bangers and meatballs, apparently. And, you know, all sorts of things. Whereas, like, typically kids pick around the meat in a sauce and just eat the noodles or whatever. At least from people I've talked to. Don't like have to hide the veggies. Harley doesn't want hidden veggies. She wants like pieces of cooked carrot. If we go out for like Chinese food and I get a soup, she actually wants the cooked carrot from my wonton soup. She'll lunge for it and start crying if she doesn't get, you know, soft cooked cabbage and bean sprouts and carrots out of my wonton soup because she's just a bizarro child. But I think it's a result of baby-led weaning. I really do. Like, I think that baby-led weaning is one of those things that just opens kids up to trying food before they know that they shouldn't be open to trying food. Maybe. Like, it just lets them experiment with it, and it doesn't come as a surprise. I think that's the other thing is, you know, unlike a baby food where it's like, here, have this orange puree, and it's butternut, and then the next time it's carrot, and then the next time it's, you know, mushed up spaghetti and sauce, or, you know, sushi smoothie, Eleanor. You know, instead they know what it is and they can decide, I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't like this. And that's just been, you know, really it's made my life so much easier because it just means that, like, as I cook food, I just cook for her as well. So, like, tonight, as I said, we had spaghetti and meatballs, and I didn't have to make her a separate portion. Like, I literally served up for the three of us. So Dean and I obviously have grown-up size bowls of spaghetti and sauce with probably too large a portion. Probably should practice a bit more portion control. And then Harley has her little bowl of noodles and like a meatball. Like, originally I gave her half a meatball and then she cried and she ate her whole meatball and then, well, her whole half a meatball and then cried until I gave her the other half of the meatball. Like, she was really disappointed in me for not giving her more meat. So, you know, and I cut up the spaghetti, so, because that is something I learned, is like, I tried to do baby-led weaning and give her like a normal piece of spaghetti, and then she choked on it. So let's actually talk about that. Let's pause for a moment and cover the choking thing with baby-led weaning, because I know a lot of people are terrified of their baby choking, and it is really scary. But what I read about, and what did help me and calm me down a bit, was that the gag reflex in a baby and a toddler is way further forward than it is in an adult. So this might get a bit vulgar, but like the gag reflex in an adult is rather far down in the throat. So the food is pretty close to being like stuck in your throat before you feel that gag reflex. Whereas for children and toddlers, and particularly babies, it's like really, really close to the front of their mouth. So they start gagging and coughing up the food way before it's blocking their windpipe, way before it's in any sort of a danger zone. But it is still important to keep an eye on them while they're eating, obviously. And so if you see them, coughing and gagging a bit, then what we would do is we just kind of smack her on her back and she coughs it all up, and it's really not an issue. Like, we are more traumatized than she is. Like, she'll literally spit out whatever she's gagging on and like see it and put it back in her mouth, because I obviously have a barbarian for a child. But it's a lot scarier in theory than it is in fact. Like, she's actually fine with it. But as I say, with spaghetti, I started cutting it up because otherwise, like, she doesn't know necessarily how to chew. Like, she knows to chew, and she does kind of do it, but she only has a few teeth, and so she doesn't really chew well. So this way, there was one time, so I gave her normal spaghetti, and she shoved this whole strand. Like, she was really excited, and she kind of and shoved the whole strand in her mouth, and then started gagging on it, because obviously part of it had gone down her throat and she hadn't chewed it yet. So I was literally able to like pull the string out of her mouth and she was fine. But I do think that the whole, gagging thing is scary for a lot of parents, and I totally get that. But I think that overall, you have kids who gag on a spoon of yogurt. I mean, you have kids who literally will gag on any food that's put in their mouth. So I don't necessarily think that avoiding baby-led weaning just because you're afraid of gagging is going to prevent you from ever seeing your child gag or choke on food. And we all know they put everything in their mouth anyway, so you're probably just better off to learn the whole smack on back, don't die thing, regardless of what kind of feeding mechanism you're going to be doing. So for those who are just tuning in, please let me know what your favorite food was when you were growing up. As I said, my mom says that I kind of lived on rice cakes and apple juice for a long time. I seem to remember really liking pasta. So I liked pasta, but I didn't like the sauce. I wanted sauce on the side, and I would dip my pasta in the sauce as compared to having it already coated in sauce. Yes, indeed, gagging and choking are very different. I've been using them interchangeably, and I shouldn't be. Harley has only ever gagged on her food. She has never choked. So you'll see they kind of go up like a college girl after too many drinks and a night out. It's a very much like pukey kind of sound, and they're still fine, and you can see that they're breathing and everything is okay. It's really when they turn blue and you can see they're struggling to breathe that you worry about choking. But either way, you can do the smack on the back and everything comes out and they're fine. So a year later, we started her with baby-led weaning when she was 6 months old-ish. Somewhere between 6 and 7 months old. Now she's 18 months old. She'll be 19 months, a year and 7 months on the 1st of July, which is around the corner. I don't know where the time goes. And I just thought I'd kind of look back and realize, I went from being worried that she was never going to eat to now. Today she was home because we took the car in to be serviced, so she didn't go to school. And it was a nightmare. It was great, but it was a nightmare because all she wanted was food all day. So wake up and I gave her some porridge and I gave her some yogurt. She seemed okay for a while, and then after an hour or so, then it was ooh, she wants, a banana. So we gave her some banana, and she had other fruit with us, and then she napped, and then it was she woke up and she was crying, and Dean was I don't know, I think she just wants you. I was no, I think she's hungry, and cooked her some rice, and she had some rice, and then she just kept going for Cheerios all day, and then in the evening she had the spaghetti and meatballs with us, and so she really, she eats anything, and Cheerios are a godsend. Can I just put that out there? Some form of snackable cereal is amazing. because she literally like goes into the kitchen and spills Cheerios all over the floor. But she goes into the kitchen and helps herself to Cheerios because she knows they're there and she loves them. And like she does this thing where she'll like get a fistful of Cheerios. I either put them in a Tupperware for her, or she'll literally like go into the box. And she takes this fistful, and it's like she's like me and Dean. Like she's obviously learned from her parents. She goes like. Which reminds me, by the way, her other favorite food, which I haven't mentioned, grated cheese. What is up with kids and grated cheese? Like, literally, she cannot get enough. Like, she'll eat, if I put a Tupperware of, like, freshly grated cheese out that I want to use for cooking, she will sit there and just, like, hum, fistfuls of it into her mouth as fast as she can. And eat it. It's gone. It's not something that reappears when she opens her mouth and, like, all this food falls out, which sometimes happens. But like fistfuls of cheese just getting shoveled into her face. Like why? How? Frozen peas. Does she eat the peas while frozen, Mandy? Because that sounds a bit distressing. Not that you're a bad parent, but I just can't imagine being interested in eating frozen peas. I don't like peas in any form. Maybe if they were in a smoothie, maybe if I had had them as baby food in a smoothie, I would like them. But I'm just not a fan of peas, except like. You know when you have like a rice dish and there's like those little carrots and peas mixed in? Then I don't mind it. But otherwise I'm not a peas fan. That's so weird, man. I mean, look, I can't be one to talk my child literally like, you know, fistfuls of Cheerios and cheese. But that's, I don't know, peas. Maybe Harley would like them too. I don't think she's had the opportunity to eat peas because I don't eat peas. So maybe I should branch out and let her try them. Do you mean beans or peas? Frozen peas, like the long pods, or like the individual little peas? I don't know. Still weird for me. But it's just been such a delight now. So like now she'll eat anything. Now we can go anywhere and she'll just eat. That said, I have I have some serious peas pies. So, you know, I have found now that she's older, that because she's so hungry and because she wants to eat like lunch and snacks and dinner and like I am starting to buy some of those prepackaged kids meals, just because like you know, it's one of those things where like I get her home from school and for me, like, I also want to eat lunch, but I don't necessarily want to eat lunch right that minute. And I also can delay my gratification. So, like, if I need to cook a meal because I'm hungry, like, I don't mind waiting 20 minutes. Harley literally is screaming for, like, the 2 minutes it takes to microwave some of these kids' lunches and meals and stuff. So, yeah, no, I'm definitely a big fan of the Gordon Ramsay meals that are available here. I don't know what I'm going to use when we get to States. I'm sure I'll find something. But Gordon Ramsay has these oh my goodness meals that you get at Checkers, and they're divine. And she loves them. Like she'll shovel them in her face. Not that she's that picky. Like she also shovels in spaghetti and sauce from Woolies. The difference is I prefer the Gordon Ramsay one. So after Harley is done eating and she's eaten her like 6 bites of food that count as a meal for her, then I can eat the rest and it's not gross kids food that just tastes like additives, which I wouldn't feed her anyway because I don't believe in that. So it's healthy and it's good and it's tasty and all of that. But I never thought I would do one of these prepared kids meal things. Like I thought I would always just give her the food that I'm eating because that's baby-led weaning and blah blah blah. After school, I do not want to come home and like be forced to cook lunch because my child is hungry. Like rather just give her her own meal. She eats it, she's happy, and we can move on with life. But it's just funny, like how seemingly overnight she kind of developed this appetite, and now she really wants like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, and you know, is willing to eat whatever we put in front of her, which I definitely credit to baby-led weaning. Like she really will try anything. And she drinks water on her own. She has her Munchkin 360 cup, which I love. But she's interested in food all of a sudden, and it's divine. I just hope one day that she eats even more for dinner and actually like dinner, bath, bed, sleep through the night. I don't know why she's still waking up for boob. Like, I know it's not a food thing. She can't be hungry. I think it's just a comfort thing. But maybe one day my child will sleep through and I will be rested and I will look like radiant. Like, if you ever see me come on Facebook Live and I look really well rested, then probably my child has started sleeping through the night. But until that day, you will not see me rested. Like, this is not a rested face. This is a tired, I have a toddler face. Yeah, I know, breastfeeding, but I want to keep breastfeeding her until we move, because I think for the flight and for arriving in a new country, it'll be a good source of comfort and stability. And now that we know that Tina's green card will be flying soon, so I don't have to think of it like maybe one day I'll get to breastfeed, but it's like maybe in 3 months I can wean her off breastfeeding. 2 years, 8 months. Mandy, how are you alive? How are you alive? And Harley isn't even a bad sleeper. Like, she's only waking up a few times a night, but you know, and like the Fitbit, the Fitbit tells me like, oh, I got 5 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep, whatever. Like, it's not like I'm getting 2 hours of sleep, which I would be a zombie. But it's really hard, like this kid sleeping thing. I just hope, you know, I thought that when she started eating more solids, she would sleep more, and she does, but I want even more sleep. I want all the sleep. I miss my old days of like going to sleep whenever I wanted to and waking up when I wanted to. But I suppose I'll have to wait for Harley to be a teenager before I get that luxury again. Anyway, this isn't about sleep, this is about food. So, I don't know if any of you have any questions about baby-led weaning, or if you did baby-led weaning, or if you avoided baby-led weaning because you were afraid of the gaggy, choky thing. So, feel free to drop me a question or a comment. Oh, Mandy, you're so lively, though. You're so lively in chat. You're totally alive, even if you're kind of texting from in bed or just half asleep. But I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, for tuning in. I'm sorry that my weird app didn't work. I'm going to tweak it and test it and try something to figure out why it didn't want to let me do the thing I wanted to do. And hopefully when I stream again on Sunday night at 8, the app will work properly. So that is actually a good point, Loma. So for those who don't see the comment, you know, stuff like eggs and peanut butter and all that, the allergy stuff. So initially they said, like, there was a point when there was research saying like, oh, don't let kids eat that too early because then, you know, you'll kill them. And then now the research is saying you should actually introduce kids to all the allergens as early as possible to try and prevent them from having allergies. I also think it's helpful with the breastfeeding because then obviously they're exposed to whatever you eat. So if you're eating peanuts and eggs and all of that, they are getting some of those allergens in the breast milk as well. But, you know, obviously, Harley, like I say, Harley didn't really eat much. You know, when she was 6 months old, she just wasn't that interested. And like, some kids love eggs. Like, I've seen some toddlers that like get an omelet and just like shovel it in their face. Harley is still not one of those children. Like, she's just not interested in eggs. She's not really that interested in peanut butter either, but she's tried it. I mixed it in her porridge a few times, and I've also just given her like a peanut butter sandwich, but she doesn't seem to be a fan. I don't know if it's something that'll grow on her over time. Like, I'm eating peanut butter. I'm eating peanut butter and jam sandwiches a lot lately, but she's not. But I do think it's important, especially with baby-led weaning or any form of weaning, you know, any form of introducing foods, to be aware of what your child is eating and if they have an allergy or a bad reaction, and then to try and narrow it down. So the literature says, like, introduce one new food a week or something like that. But I mean, the idea of feeding my child Avo for like a week just wasn't going to happen. So just keep an eye on things. Like, you'll probably pick up if something doesn't sit well with your kid. Plenty, all the jam. So you'll probably pick up on things if your kid, you know, has an adverse reaction to food, and just try and like do the whole remove any known risk foods from the diet, see if they still have the issues, otherwise bring them back in one at a time, and then you can determine like, oh, my kid is lactose intolerant, gluten intolerant, or whatever, and then get get to revamp your entire family's cookbook to work around what your kid is intolerant to. Like I grew up lactose intolerant. Thankfully, I'm not anymore. But it's really, really hard. So more power to all the moms out there who have to deal with allergies. Thankfully, Harley so far doesn't seem to be showing any allergies, knock on wood. But we shall see. So yeah, definitely something to always keep an eye on. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to say to everybody. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped you if you were thinking about baby-led weaning, or I hope that you just enjoyed having a bit of a chat with me about food and solids and what you and your kid ate as children. Dean was just shocked tonight that like the love affair with spaghetti and sauce starts so young. But Harley truly, like, she went back to the kitchen this evening and pointed at the pot until I gave her her second meatball. Like, she was really distraught that I didn't give her a full meatball, that I only gave her half of one. So yeah, we're now at that stage where she can go into the kitchen and like point at the food and be like, open, more. So, or just scream at me, because that's really what she does. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will be going live again on Sunday at 8 o'clock, hopefully with my fancy schmancy program. If not, we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will chat to you all soon. Bye!